Welcome to our channel, Million Dollars Made Easy. On this channel, we love to run numbers for people. What we do is use the actual historical returns for the S&P 500 for the last 100 years, which includes the depression years. So we want to look at kind of the worst case scenario of what may happen in the future. We project ahead what similar returns might do for you in the future. They won't be identical, and the resulting numbers are simply a possible range of what may happen. They will be ballpark figures. They won't be exact. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a numbers guy, but I will run numbers for you. In this video, we want to look at somebody that's reached the withdrawal stage, and these are the things I asked for. Please restrict your request to these criteria. He's going to give me his beginning balance, his monthly withdrawal. He's going to give me his Social Security amount, and when he wants that to start. And he doesn't have a pension, but if you have a pension, give me that amount and when that's to start. So let's go ahead and run the numbers for this individual. Again, everybody's numbers will be different. He's got $3 million saved up. Make sure I'm getting this right here. He's age 50. He wants to take Social Security at age 65 or 67. Now, he said his Social Security is going to be 2,200 right now, but you need to realize that over the next 17 years, if he goes to age 67 and we give him Social Security an inflation rate of 2.5, that 2,200 is going to grow to 3,348. So we're going to say that's what he's going to get at age 70, age 67, which is 17 years from now. If he's age 50, he takes age 67. So this is going to kick in down here. Now, we haven't even put in what he wants to take out. He wants to withdraw 10,000 a month, which would be 120,000 a year. Let's see, sure I'm getting everything else right here. He wants to do a 60-40 split. And we're going to give him a 3% inflation. So this 10,000 a month is going to be 10,300 next year and so on. And again, what we do is run the numbers for every single year to see how they might work out given this scenario. By the way, this would be a 4% withdrawal rate. 10,000, 120,000 a year on 3 million will be 4%. So he's very much in the ballpark of what's recommended by most financial advisors, which again, I'm not one. But I want you to notice how many times he would be successful in the last 100 years, given every possible scenario. These are the actual returns we look at. We had a down decade in the 30s, the 70s, the 2000s. Most of the other decades were quite good, but these are how the actual numbers work out. For example, 1924 numbers are showing right here, going down through here. These are the numbers after 10 years, you have 4,260,000. After 20 years, 6.5. But what it's done is it calculates it for every single year for the last 100 years, and only in 1929 and 1930 would you have any kind of a problem. You'd be running out of money in 13 years if we had returns as horrible as 1929 going forward, and run out of money in 16 years if we had returns one less bad year. Be running out of money in 16 years if we had 1930 numbers. But every other scenario, look at these numbers, folks. This is the actual graph. There's those 2 years, 1929, 1930. The year 2000, which I can show you on this right here. This is the other reasonably bad decade. Not as bad as the 30s, but it was kind of bad. So sometimes you run into problems. But if you stick close to that 4% withdrawal rule, you are in great shape. Now, I want you to notice something. This is if you left it all in the S&P 500, and nobody really recommends that because when the market's going down, you don't want to take this 120,000 out of a market that's already going down. You don't want to sell low. So he did want me to run it with a 60-40 split. So I'm going to go ahead and update this, and I want you to watch what happens to these 2%. The time you run out of money, and you're going to see that change because that 60-40 split really helps even in the depression years to the point where you don't run out of money in 20 years. 1929 was horrible enough that you did run out of money in 29 years. If you had these kind of returns going forward, that would be the worst case scenario. Every other scenario, look at the graph, folks, just awesome. This is the 20-year graph. This is a 30-year graph showing you run out of money in 1929. But every other scenario, you are in great shape. So that's what we do on this channel. We run numbers for people. If you want me to run your numbers, make sure you keep to these criteria. Your beginning balance, your monthly withdrawal, and Social Security. I didn't even show you that, but we're having that kick in the 17th year where this 3,348 kicks in. So you notice remember this is increasing by 3% a year. In the 17th year, it actually goes down. You don't need this 13,613 as much because you're getting 3,000 from Social Security. So hopefully that makes sense. We also do another thing on this channel. We figure most people, once they reach in their 60s, they're called the go-go years. 70s are usually the slow-go years. You actually cut back most of the time in that second decade, and you definitely cut back in the third decade unless you have healthcare expenses. But when in this case scenario, I did cut it back by 10% in that second decade. I can change any of these numbers you want. I just like to show people what we can do on this channel and try to be realistic. You generally cut back a little bit once you get to your 70s. Not everybody, but I know in my case I'm 72, and we aren't doing near as much as when we're in the 60s. But we can change any of these numbers. But in this case, you don't run out of money except 1929 numbers. If we had those kind of returns going forward, of course they won't be identical, but if we had 4 down years, I call that sequence of returns risk. You might run into a problem if you had that, and then some more down 35 and 3 more years. But are we really going to have returns like the Depression years? Just in case I run the numbers, in this case, you'd be running out of money in 29 years. But every other scenario, look at the kind of numbers. You could obviously take out more when you after a few years, you see these numbers just going straight up. Go ahead and take out more. But again, I'm not a financial advisor. I just love to run numbers and show people. Just if you can stay within this 4% withdrawal rule, almost in every case, don't run out of money unless we would have a horrible decade like the Depression years. But please consider subscribing to the channel. Please let people know about this channel. Let them know there's a channel out there that will run numbers for them. Please comment, please like the videos, and please be patient with me. I don't always see your request initially, but I try to get to them as soon as I can. Thanks so much.